Okay, I have to make this. I don't know how to get myself on this thing. How do I get this on? Only my picture. I don't know how to get only my picture on. Does anybody know? I'm using a phone. I see David Adler. We see David Adler. That's all I see. How do I get this on? No.
Maybe if you swipe one way, it goes.
What?
Maybe if you swipe one way, it goes.
Swipe?
Yeah, to one side.
One's muted. Okay. We're recording. Okay, we are recording. I don't know. I don't even see myself now at all. I see a socket. It's backwards. I have no idea. No. It's getting very frustrating.
If you put
You have a
yourself
mirror on top of the socket. This way you can't lose. Either it's pointing at you or pointing at the mirror.
No, but if you do swipe to the left, you will see other people. I mean, at least when I do it, I see other people in the little frames.
Okay. Starting. I'm now playing the share. I'm going to mute everybody. Oh, this is crazy.
We see you. It's fine now.
Yeah, I just did it. I spotlighted myself, everyone. Now you can see me fine, right? You can see me?
Yes, sir. Perfect.
Okay, now we're on.
Yes.
Okay, very good. Everyone be quiet, please. We're on Yud Amid Beis, and we've in the Masechta Nedarim. We saw that Kol Kinuye Nedarim on Nedarim. We just saw the previous Mishnah, Koinim, Koinef, Nazif, Pazif. We saw the different Lashonos that you can use for Nedarim, for Cherem, for Shvuos, for Naziris. We saw in the first Mishnah in the Masechta the Yadais, and now we're going to the third level, which is called Hatfasa. In other words, the way to go ahead and make something usher is to compare it to something else. Be matis bedavar asa. You're going to be matis bedavar asa. In other words, I'm going to say this thing is usher upon me like something else. Now, that something else has to be usher al yedei neder. So, for example, if I would go ahead and say that this should be usher upon me like pork, like chazer, it would be neder, because it's the Torah that asks you. If you say this is a asa upon me like a carbon, it will be asa because the way the carbon became asa, you made a neder. So that's called being matfis, manifesting bedavar another in something that what is a neder. And this you'll see, we'll illustrate it in the Mishnah, and we'll ask a question. Apparently, that the hatfasa works on something that is a davar asa. We'll see the Mishnah. It says the Mishnah. Ha'omer lachulin, not lit with a shva, but a pasach. La means loy. Lachulin. So you read this lachulin shaykh lecha. This should be not like chulin that I eat to you. So if it's not like chulin, then it means it's like kachim. I'm being matfis b'dava ha nother, right? And let's point out that this is a case of michlal lav ata shemeyahen. That in other words, from the negative, you're hearing the positive. I can't eat, what I eat for you will not be chulin, that's the negative, the positive, but it'll be kachim. It will be a carbon. Okay, and therefore it's aser. Okay. Continue next case, loy kosher. This should not be kosher. Now we're going to ask the Ram will have to deal with the question: is this apparently is a dava ha'aser, something that's not what called quote unquote kosher, it itself is innately usher. It didn't become usher all you name neder. It's usher because it's usher, right? So therefore, but yet we're going to see it works. V'loi dachi. This is not clean, like not tahar. Tahar. The Ran says it's loy tahar. Bigaris loy tahar. And in fact, the Rambam in Perik Aleph, in the Hilchos Nedarim Halacha Yud Ches is garis loy tahar. V'tamei, or this should be tamei, or this should be nicer, a carbon that's left out overnight. Upigo, or a carbon that became asa through the machshava in the shchita or the kabbalah or the halacha or the zerika of the carbon, with a machshava of chutz lizman or chutz lemakay. Aser. In all these cases, it would be aser. You would mafis bidava aser, and thus the kikar that you're speaking about will be aser. If I say ki'imra, like a sheep, mashma like the sheep that's brought for the carbon tamid, kidirim, like the deer, the animals in the corral, ke'etzim, like eitzim, like the shnei gizrei eitzim, ke'ishim, like the fire on the mizbeach, kimizbeach, like the mizbeach, either the korban is brought on the mizbeach or the mizbeach itself that was built from money of the bedek habayis, which is kachim, which is kodesh, kehechel, like the korbanos that are brought in the hechel on the not the korbanos, the ketoris that's burnt on the hechel, ki Yerushalayim, like Yerushalayim, neder or neder be'echem mikol mishamshein hamizbeach, or you make a neder using any of the tashvishim, the kalim that's used in the mizbeach, the shovels, the pans, the kli shares, afa pishlei hiska carbon. In all these cases, you didn't mention carbon. Harizan neder b'carbon. It's a neder b'carbon. You were mafis in a carbon, and in fact now the neder, the kikar, the object that you went ahead and you were mafis in would be aser. So then yadois kinoyim, and now hatfasa. This is hatfasa. Rabbi Yehuda Aimer ha'aimer Yerushalayim loyim aklum. If someone said this should be like not, it doesn't say like Yerushalayim. He says it should be Yerushalayim without the kaf. It is not usher. Okay, let's see the Ran over here. The Ran on the right side. Masnisan lechulin shoichla lecha lekasha ledachi kula be patachos halamid. Everything has a pasach under the lamed. Karin lahu. Umshemhachi usher. And therefore it's usher. The mishamshi lahum loy chulin. The mashmois. Lichulin means two chulin. Lachulin means loy chulin. The lamed pasach is equal to the word loy. With a le, it just means it's a prefix two. With a pasach, it's a word loy. So it's lachulin. So therefore, the mashmois is vata. This thing should be chulin. If it's not chulin, ela carbon. Loy kasher, ela asa. It shouldn't be kasher. It should be asa. Loy dachi. It should not be clean. Ela asa. The Ashken Hachi Gabe Heta Kidaminan Heyed Yosef ben Yoezer al Ayil Kamsa. That's a type of locust. Shehu Dachin. It's kasha. Ukranami Kasiv called Sipa Tahira Klaimar Muteres Hilkach Ki Ama Loy Kasha Loy Dachi Ella Asa Kamar. What are you saying? You're saying it's Asa. V'chi Tema Ella Asa Misham Issa Kamar. And what are you going to ask? Hatfasa fellas has to be in something that the Issa was created al Yedei Neder. Not something that's innately awesome, not a chazan, not a camel, not a nervous, not something that innately is awesome to Torah acid. So this will become avloy mishum neder, v'avle kimafis b'dava ha'asar. So Ran's asking a very basic question. Like kosher, mashmois like kosher is something that's not kosher, which is a chazar, a gamel, or nevis, and that neder would work. You would not, because again, the neder has to be something that you created the isser to be mafis in. The object I'm being mafis in it itself was created through a neder. So Fred ran a great question on the Mishnah. Why is it asa? Why is the neder chal? So on that, the Ran answers, Amid Aleph, the loy mitzvah. It's not afilu hachi. Says the Ran. Kim the iklim mahachi. It's possible to say one way. Iklim mahachi. It's possible the other way. As lina the chumra the kaimelon. A good yisai to know. Stam Nedarim lahafnir. Again, the severity of the neder, we will go ahead and say maybe this is what he meant, and therefore will be machmer. So even though, just to take the example, low kosher can mean an animal that's not kosher, which would not be a neder, or low kosher means an animal that I can't have enough from, I can't use because it's also because it's a carbon, right? That will be machmer and go in that direction. So all that, since you can vacillate and go both ways, Stam Nedarim we will be machmer. Let's do the next run as well. Or Tame Pigel Neiser Asa. Kachi Gersa ben Eskois. The Ran asks on the word tahar, and he says like tahar. Let's skip down a little bit. Says the Ran. The Tanamas Nisan Tlasdine Tana. Go from the Gemara 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines up, fellas. 5 lines up from the bottom of the Gemara, parallel to the Ran. The Tanamas Nisan Tlasdine Tana. He learns 3 dinim. The Chalhechashu Maska Shem Shemash Musay Leheter. Anytime you sense something that the Mashmos is heter like Chulin. In order to answer, you're going to have to put a lamed in front of it with a pasach underneath it, like la chulin, because chulin itself is mutter. So it's a shame mutter. So in order to make the nedachal, I have to say la chulin. From the negative, you hear the positive. It's not chulin. What is it? The hain. It's kachim. So therefore, that's important, right? Lav kamar adashmehem. V'hainu chulin. Kasha, the chitahar, anytime you mention the second din, shame of Isser, the shaykh bekachim, could go in tam make pigel nicer, behind the shaykh lamed besucha b'tchilas, and you don't say la nicer, la pigel, it's not shaykh at all. The other rabbi, you want to say it's not like nicer, but it's kosher, right? That would be the opposite. Right? Even you say kin nicer, kid pigel. You didn't mention like them. Nonetheless, mitzvah, I feel Rabbi Yehuda. Even contribute. So that's the second din. So the first din is by a heta, you have to say lamid la. The second din is by dava asa, you have to say something that's hashaychus to a carbon. You have to say, you don't have to say kit. It itself will be asa. And finally, you mention Yerushalayim, kit Yerushalayim. So 3 dinim. A la, a nothing, and a kit. Good. And the chiddush over here in the Mishnah is that these are not, even if the mashmois is that they're not necessarily a dover, another that you can be manifest in, compare it to, and maybe you're comparing it to what something that is innately usher by itself, which not be a good neder. Stam nedarim lahachmer, we will say it's usher. That's what we're saying. Stam nedarim lahachmer, we'll say it's usher. Okay. Now, from the Mishnah, we clearly heard Michlal la bata shemei hain. What did we hear? We said lachulin. We said the word lachulin. It should not be like chulin shoichel chavarayit to you. So it's not like chulin. That's the lav. What's the hain? But it is like. Now we know from many years of learning, there's something called the Tanai B'nai Gad B'nai Ruvain, predominantly in Masech the Kedushin, but we've touched upon it throughout Shas. That when B'nai Yisrael, when Ruvain and Gad, they were in Chatzi Sheva Menashe, Ruvain and Gad approached Moshe Rabbeinu and Ever Yarden because it was so lush for their animals. And Moshe Rabbeinu said, okay, you could have this on one condition, that you go into Eretz Yisrael and fight. And not only fight, you have to lead the fight. You have to be chamushim of ne'am. You have to be first. Good? If Moshe would have said that, everything would have been great. Moshe didn't stop there. Moshe said, and if you don't go in, then done. So and obviously he had 2 dinim. That's called the Tanai kafel. You need both stud and both sides of the Tanai. If you go in this way and if you don't go in. Now, couldn't we infer that from if we don't say mechalav d'shmei hain. We don't infer that you have to go in if you don't go in, this is going to happen to you. This is in the case of mechal hain at d'shmei alav, right? But in saying that, that's the point that you have to spell it out. Says the Gemara. Savrua, we held to say. Now, usually when you held to say, it's the hafamim of the Gemara, and the Gemara doesn't conclude that way. In this case, it's going to conclude that way. Savrua my lechulin. When it says lachulin, loy lechulin lahave, it shouldn't be chulin, el a carbon. It should be a carbon. Loy lechulin lahave, it shouldn't be a chulin, but it should be a carbon, right? That's the hain. Mani masnisa, who's the time of our Mishnah? Reb Meir, less name mechal lavat the shemei hain. Rabbi Meir does not hold of the rule from the inference of the negative, from the negative, the positive. So this would not be, in other words, this is not a case of a Tanai, this is a case of Mechlal Lavat Shemei Hain, right, in which we do hear from Bnei Ruvain, and therefore, just like he says, anything similar to that, he doesn't hold it Mechlal, so he wouldn't be the time of our Mishnah, El Rabbi Yehuda. So in Achinam, guys, when it says Savrua, it doesn't mean Savrua, it means the end. The Mishnah is not according to Rabbi Meir, the Mishnah is according to Rabbi Yehuda. It says the Gemara, Ema Sefer, Rabbi Yehuda Aimer, Yerushalayim Le'em Klum. The Mishnah said if you make a hatfasa ki Yerushalayim, right, then it will be aser. However, if you just say Yerushalayim without the chaf, it's nothing. Who began talking then? Rabbi Yehuda. Generally, when a person begins talking then, he didn't talk earlier. So how can you tell me the Tana of the Mishnah is Rabbi Yehuda and not the Bar Pluta and not Reb Meir? Right? And now I hear it's not Reb Meir, but how can you say it's Rabbi Yehuda? Rabbi Yehuda first starts talking in the latter part of the Mishnah. Says the Gemara, with the Sefer Rabbi Yehuda, when the Sefer is Rabbi Yehuda, Reisha la Rabbi Yehuda. The Reisha is not Rabbi Yehuda. Says the Gemara, no, Kula Rabbi Yehuda. The whole Mishnah is Rabbi Yehuda. Here's the way you have to read the Mishnah. Kol Omer Ki Yerushalayim, right? That works. Why? Rabbi Yehuda Omer HaOmer Yerushalayim Lo Yom HaKlom. But when you say Ki, it does work. So therefore, the whole Mishnah is according to Rabbi Yehuda. So Rabbi Yehuda did not begin speaking in the Sefer of the Mishnah. He was in the Reshit also. And you know why Ki Yerushalayim works? Because Rabbi Yehuda said, if you just said Yerushalayim without the Chaf, it doesn't work. Fred Gemara Kasha, Chi Yom Yerushalayim, Rabbi Yehuda mi Mitzvah. If you say like Yerushalayim according to Rabbi Yehuda, would it be Aser? But Tanya Rabbi Yehuda Omer, Hoimer Ki Yerushalayim Lo Yom HaKlom. In other words, the city of Yerushalayim is not going to do the job. You have to go ahead and make a neder hatfasa in something that is like something that is brought in Yerushalayim, something that I guess would be a carbon that would be born in Yerushalayim. Then it's going to go ahead and work. So the Gemara says, "Kul Rabbi Yehuda." No, the whole mission is Rabbi Yehuda, and we have one gersa that says Lo Yom HaKlum. We have Rabbi Yehuda. Tanoy live Rabbi Yehuda. And Machloikis Tanoyim Rabbi Yehuda holds. According to Mishnah, our Mishnah, Ki Yerushalayim does work. Yerushalayim doesn't work. And according to the other Tana, Afilu Ki Yerushalayim doesn't work because it's not enough of a hatfasa in a dava hanodur. Because you're just saying Yerushalayim, it's not clear. Okay, Amid base. Tana Chulin. If you say Chulin, Ha Chulin, right? Ha Chulin with a hey, or Ka Chulin like Chulin. Bein she'oichelecha, bein she'loichelecha. Whether you suffix, you say like it'll be like chulin, whether in and adik muta. There was no lister over there. La chulin she'oichelecha. Oh, now we get interesting. La, not like chulin what I eat to you. Then aser, it's aser. Like la chulin loichelecha. If you say it's not like chulin what I don't eat from you, but what, right? Meaning I won't eat from you is not like chulin, it's kachim, but I won't eat it from you. Muta, then it'd be muta. Reisha money. Who's the town of the Reisha? Reb Meir. It's Reb Meir. The last name of Chalaf the Shemei Hein. Aim Sefer. What does the Sefer say? Lachulun le'oichlecha muta. Now, 1 second. Muta v'tanan. Korban le'oichlecha. It's not like a korban that I eat for you. Reb Meir Isa. Reb Meir said it would be Asa. The kosher one. Halesle mechal lavat the Shemei Hein. So how can Reb Meir Asa? La korban's mashma. What I won't eat from you won't be a korban. But what would it be? It would be chulin. But 1 second, Rabbi doesn't hear that inference. Rabbi doesn't hold that at all. From Rabbi says Rabbi, Nasa Koima will view it. The korban yeh, this should be a korban lefika. So according to Rabbi, Rabbi holds the Mishnah as you have a problem. Achanami in the Mishnah when he said la chulin in our Mishnah, guys. When he said la chulin in our Mishnah, when he said la chulin, I won't eat from you. Hachi kamalei loy chulin lahavi. It should not be chulun, right? Therefore, he's saying what? It's not chulun, but it's a carbon, the food. So why does the Brisa say that what? It's muta. It should be asa. Says Ma, Hai Tana Sabalak Reb Meir b'chada u'Pol Reb b'chada. He holds like Reb Meir in one case, and he argues in the other case. Sabalak Kavasi b'chada. He holds in one case the less le b'chalat shemei hein, u'Pol Reb b'chada, and he argues in the other one regarding the din of carbon. So he wouldn't hold the sin of carbon, he would not hold that. Rashi gives a different teretz. The price that says that person made the neder says lechulin with a shva, not a lamed, with a shva. If you don't have a lamed underneath, it doesn't say loy. V'huda ama loy lechulin, right? When you say with a lamed, so the mashma loy lahavi chulin ela b'carbon. So if the guy who made the neder, he says it shouldn't so then it's nothing. Lechulin is not chulin, but if he says la, then Reb Meir would go ahead and say his neder works, right? Because he said the la. So not like chulin, it shouldn't be to you, and therefore Reb Meir would say it works. Okay, I have to go. I'm sorry.